Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a general collective reading. There are no signs attached to it, so only take it if it resonates with you in the first couple of minutes. Otherwise, just go find a different video to watch. So we're gonna get started here. At the bottom of the deck, we have the new pearl, which is talking about some sort of new beginning. It was coming through with a lot of this energy here of like a big fish in a small pond, that kind of energy, because I'm always drawn to this like little speck here inside of this structure where it's kind of like maybe you're getting ready to leave a place or leave an energy or step into something new, and it was coming through with like stepping into the ocean or just like a bigger environment in some way. And with this card, it was coming through with this message of the ocean is your ally, of like the universe, if you want to call it that. The ocean being sort of a metaphor for the unknown, I guess, is your ally. In this case, it's like the universe is helping you or will be helping you in whatever it is that you're stepping into, which is really interesting. So grit and patience are also keywords for that card. So the first cards we have out here, so the Resin card, which I love, sorry for the lighting, and then the Death and the Four of Pentacles, which I love these two cards together. So this Resin card talks about it. I put it there, is that better? No. Okay. It talks about holding, or it's also coming through with like the environment is holding you in some way, or because if you think about resin, like an insect in the resin, where it's kind of like preservation. I feel like there's an energy here of like feeling like a space is too small or it's confined in some way, with the Resin card, and with like sort of like that pond energy. It's kind of like here with the holding as well. So it might not be an environment. It could just be any sort of situation where you're feeling perhaps like it's like confining in some way, or there's just like there's a desire for expansion is kind of how it's coming through. And with these two cards, it's like that's absolutely happening here. It's like there's some sort of transformation here with the Four of Pentacles that traditionally talks about sort of like holding on to resources of some sort. It's kind of feeling to me though like it's like maybe there's a situation or an environment that's been holding on to you or holding on to your energy in some way, and that's sort of going through a transformation, because I'm actually seeing, or that if we want to frame it more positively, that like the environment is letting go of resources. It's like resources are being freed up is kind of how it's coming through, or like if it's not resources, it's like energy is being freed up or moved or changed in some way, where previously they were being held or perhaps frozen or preserved is kind of how it's coming through. Because the next card you have here is the Ace of Pentacles, which I love. This one has a little beetle with it, and it's kind of talking about like this is the thing that was inside the resin. This is the thing that was inside the resin that was being held or preserved in some way. So it could be a new start. I've been thinking about the Ace of Pentacles so much recently as just being sort of like, it could be, it oftentimes is such a small thing. It's such a small thing, like a tool, perhaps, like could be like a pencil. It could be as like simple or easy as that, or paintbrush, or like something like that you can use to start something new. So it could be something like that, where it's like it could even have the sensation of like you're receiving a gift or like rediscovering something in your environment that perhaps was in sort of like a resin energy, like could be something from the past as well, because you do have this sort of this does talk about sort of like a return of something that was lost. So it could be something like that, where it's like you're getting something from the environment in some way, or the environment is giving you some sort of Ace of Pentacles, something very tangible and very physical. And what you have next here, underneath the Ace of Pentacles, you have the World, the Ace of Swords, and the High Priestess, which is such an incredible combination. So it's completing a cycle. You actually have the World coming out twice here. So this is kind of like, so a major cycle completing. It also feels like, because of this sort of the surrounding energy, that there may be like you being freed from the environment, right? Like that kind of thing. It's like kind of like you're receiving something physical, perhaps from the environment, but in a sense, it's also freeing you, is what that's looking to me like. So it's like some sort of physical Ace of Pentacles kind of thing is somehow freeing you from the environment, is kind of how it's coming through. But what else is really interesting about these two cards, because they're from different decks. So this is like the more traditional one. This is the After Tarot, and what's different about these two decks is that these figures in the background, so you can't see it because I turned the lights off, but these figures in the background are transforming into the elements, right? Like the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Cups, Wands, and Pentacles. So it's kind of looking to me like whatever's happening here in this like transformation is that it's like shifting the environment so that you're now seeing the environment in a different way, is kind of how it's coming through. Or that like the environment is revealing new beginnings in a way that perhaps you want. It's kind of like when all the snow melts, right? Like all the snow melts, and then all of these sort of like sprouts start coming up from the ground. That's sort of the energy that's coming through here. So, but it feels like it's happening now. It's not something like it's not, I don't know, maybe it is. But anyway, so the environment shifting, then you have here the Ace of Swords and the High Priestess, that I feel like there is some sort of important truth that is coming out with this gift, right? It's not like whatever it is that this Ace of Pentacles is representing to you, I feel like it's revealing some sort of truth about you or the environment or your circumstances in some way. It's revealing something that your intuition is telling you. So what's coming out next here, you have the Sublimation card, which talks about an elevation of some sort. It was also coming through because sublimation in terms of like chemistry is transformation from the solid state into the gas state. So this solid energy, something that was perhaps not shifting, not changing, it was preserved, it was remaining the same, has now gained enough, could be heat or just energy or like whatever shift is happening. It's like it's going through a transition energy into the gas state, which is into air, which is so much more like almost like an opposite, right? So it's kind of like but significant expansion as well. And I feel like at the same time is also bringing you to another level or elevating you in some way to something new, right? It's kind of like small pond into the ocean, like that kind of thing. What's really interesting though, the next couple of cards, I'm not sure exactly what this is referring to, but you have like, so you have, I'll just pick up all the swords, or the swords, the cards first. The Page of Swords, the Tower, the Knight of Swords. And then underneath that you have here the Fool and the King of Swords. So this is looking to me like maybe something that you're stepping into, because it's kind of like here with the Page of Swords, perhaps like something about the small pond thing, right? Like the small pond, feeling like, well, perhaps you're the big fish in this small pond, but when you're wherever it is you're going to be the smallest, or the page in the situation. It's coming through with this Tower and the Knight of Swords, which is really interesting. It's kind of like there may be energies here where it's there's a lot of focus here about like your words, right? Because you have 3 swords cards here, the Page, the Knight, and the King. I feel like perhaps there's a lot of discussion happening. The Tower coming out here right in the middle of the spread is talking about like there's something it's feeling kind of like a fear or a worry, because with the Fool coming out underneath that, it's kind of coming through as being afraid of making a mistake, or like saying something that you can't take back with this Fool card, because this one always looks to me like you like taking it a step too far, or like saying something, or like doing something, some sort of action or whatever, where you can't, like it's too far, if that makes sense. Like so there may be a fear or worry about that, of like whatever this new experience is for you, there's a fear of like making a mistake. It's kind of how it's feeling like, or taking something too far in a way that's going to cause a Tower energy, because this Knight of Swords is specifically talking to me about like words, like saying something that you regret saying because it causes pain or hurt or whatever. It was kind of coming through this energy of like I'm not using the archetypes deck, but there's the comic card in that deck, which is it's kind of coming through as being like perhaps something that was perhaps said as a joke, but maybe like turns into sort of like a shadowy energy with the Tower, like it causes hurt instead of upliftment, that kind of thing. So there may be sort of like a fear surrounding that, of like saying something that gets misinterpreted or is actually hurtful or harmful or causes pain in some way. There's also something here, because this combination of cards is coming out with the Golden Rose, which talks about sort of like this a secret of some sort. So you may actually be this was also maybe coming out as a past event, where it's like there may have been a situation in the past perhaps that you're returning to, or like there's something here about like perhaps in the past there was like a secret that caused harm or something like that. Like something about like words being used irresponsibly is just how I'm going to leave it very generally. But it's kind of like here, like, or it kind of feels like sharing a secret that should not have been shared. Like that kind of thing, where it's like, I wish I could take that back. Like that might be sort of like an energy here of like somebody was hurt in this situation, is kind of how that's feeling. Perhaps from the past. I don't know if this is necessarily talking about like going back to this, but it's like because of this Tower energy that happened, you're now conscious of it, perhaps. It's like this is perhaps a lesson that you had to learn with the golden rose, because this talks about honoring a secret. That there are some things that should not be necessarily shared or spoken out loud, like that kind of thing. So it's and with the King of Swords coming out after the Fool, it's kind of like, so if there was sort of like a situation in the past where you, or maybe not you, but somebody in this situation took something too far, or like took a step too far, is kind of how it's feeling. That was a learning experience, is kind of how it's feeling. I feel like where you actually are is this King of Swords energy, which is very discerning, and also never says anything that he doesn't mean, right? Like that kind of thing. Like words are like how the King of Swords uses their words is masterful. That's what this card is talking about. So I feel like there may be, if this is not a past energy, this may be something that you will be learning in the next phase of like how to communicate effectively in whatever the situation is. I feel like there's coming through this reassurance here of like, because we all slip, right? We all like make mistakes. We all sometimes say things where it's like perhaps like wasn't fully thought out or whatever. And it's kind of like, if that does happen, it's not something that's like unfixable. Is kind of how it's coming through to me. It's not unfixable. Sometimes it's as easy as just saying, sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't know that would be interpreted that way. That's not how I meant it. Maybe that, I don't know. Maybe that's something for somebody. Anyways, that's the King of Swords here is just talking about like mastery over your words, or mastery over communication, or even what you're thinking about, or how you frame a situation mentally. And there's something here about honoring a secret. Not everything has to be shared. Okay, some things are just for yourself to learn and to sit on, right? Okay, anyways, the next cards that are coming out here, you have the Benevolent Guide, which I love, and the Six of Cups. It's coming out like this because I feel like this is talking about like you may be reminded of perhaps like a mentor from the past is kind of how it's coming through. Like somebody that perhaps gave you advice in the past. You may be reminded of them, or their guidance may be helpful for you in whatever it is that you're stepping into. It could be like an old teacher or something like that. It could be like a teacher or a mentor, or like a role model, or somebody that you looked up to that may be helping you. It may be somebody that you perhaps didn't even know that well, or like didn't have, like it was kind of like you knew them for like maybe a year or something like that, but they had a lasting and profound impact on you, or perhaps were there for you when you were going through a difficult transition. You may be reminded of them in this time where it's like there something about what they're doing, or something about what you learned from them is going to be helpful for you in this time, which is really interesting. What's coming out next here is the Copper card. Because this card is associated with Venus. I love this card so much. And it's talking about like, I feel like there's been a lot of seriousness in the situation. Again with that comic energy, right? It's like something about like needing to lighten a situation or bring more pleasure and joy and happiness into a situation. I feel like that's happening for you, whether or not you are choosing that, because it's kind of like if you've been too focused on something like serious or too focused on like one thing, it's kind of like something new is being introduced is kind of how it's coming through. Like that could be what this resin energy is, where it's like the environment is shifting and it's shifting your priorities in a significant way, because it's like there's something about shifting your priorities or like what it is that you've been focusing on, because the next cards to come out here are the Eight of Wands. There could be an Eight of Swords energy at play, like not believing in your ability to accomplish something. Here with the King of Cups as well, because this one looks incredibly like disappointed. So there's something here about like maybe you've been disappointed about something, or like there's something that you've been focusing on that perhaps is not yielding results in a way that you expected. And it's kind of like this copper energy is coming in as sort of like something to give you something else to focus on, or to like bring in new energy, or to get you to shift how you're looking at the situation, or how you may be like what you're prioritizing is kind of how it's coming through. Perhaps you're not focused on the right goal or outcome is kind of how that's feeling. And I feel like the answer may be from this benevolent guide energy from the past is kind of how it's feeling. Like it's feeling like an old teacher, or like perhaps not in a school context though, like maybe like some sort of other context that was not school related, but they were still teaching you something. Like it could be like an art class or something like that, or like a coach or somebody like that. I don't know who that is for you. But it's like what's coming out at the end here. You have the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Wands, which is like kind of like, I feel like this is the copper energy, like a lot more fun and play and inspiration and passion, and like something that's more playful. Because I feel like, especially with the Ace of Swords, that could be like a really sharp energy. There's a lot of swords, right? A lot going on like up here is kind of how it's coming through. Maybe there's some sort of shift in priorities in terms of like doing something more physical, or more with like the fire energy rather than the swords. So taking action on something. Perhaps there's needing to be like an action taken. And here with the Seven of Pentacles, this one to me talks about like, you've planted all the seeds. It's kind of like pick one and work with it. So it's like there's a lot of seeds, a lot of opportunity, a lot of Ace of Pentacles kind of energy around you. Pick one and work with that for a little bit, and then you can come back and try the other things. It's kind of like perhaps you have too many priorities. Perhaps you're needing to like focus in on one specific action is kind of how it's coming through. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great night. Bye.